Our final destination is in Portugal's far north, a place famous for its natural beauty. It's a popular region for hikers and holiday makers. Due to the altitude in this region of Portugal, the architects were asked to produce a property that would cope with cold weather and also take advantage of the beautiful woodland landscape.
I don't think we can be far away now.
Steep valley side facing north, I think.
Is that it?
Do you see it?
I can see something. Right.
Here we are.
Excellent.
Casa Geres is hidden, built on a hillside. The road leads to the rear, and in order to fully appreciate the house, we need to walk all of the way around it before we go in.
I really like the idea of not revealing anything at all as you arrive. It's a good way to meet a house, isn't it, Piers?
I think we should just see what we can discover.
A natural stream running down the valley has been diverted and transformed into a series of pools.
Look at this waterfall. Oh! Nearly
You're right there.
No, I nearly was in a drink then. You know, the Victorians would have gone mad for this.
Yeah.
It's a fernery, basically.
They're going mad for it. You're going mad for it.
I am. I really think it's extraordinarily beautiful. And I love the way it's sort of just another part of your journey around this house. And we've only just started.
The house is like a large cabin perched on the mountainside. The platform is made from concrete, with the building above a much more lightweight combination of steel, timber and glass, with framed views out into the woodland.
Our first real glimpse of the house, and the scale of it is phenomenal.
It's really lovely the way the concrete embeds the house in the ground. And then there's this very lightweight timber wrapping over the top. It's a lovely way these two bits of the building have come together. It's really monolithic, and I have to confess I have a love of buildings that don't have small domestic openings, but have big planes of material.
Already, we've been here a few minutes, and there's so much going on. It's terribly powerful.
It is. I mean, what a great entrance shaft. I mean, there's no other word for it.
There's something really wonderful about the simplicity of it, because you know by now there's going to be a real treat when you reach the bottom. After you, my lord.
Thank you.
The long concrete steps are very theatrical, concealing the view until it's revealed to you from inside. The house is anchored into both the hillside behind it and the bedrock below. At one end is a 5-metre-high bedroom area, separated from the main house by a small courtyard, and inside, the bedrooms and bathrooms are accessed from a mezzanine which overlooks the double-height living space below.
Oh, what a great room. I mean, this is a huge space.
It's much bigger. I mean, I knew it was going to be quite a big room, but this is enormous, isn't it?
It reminds me of a saying my old tutor used to use, which was every house should have a room where a child can get up to speed.
What about an adult getting up to speed?
I don't know. Should we give it a go?
Yeah, go on.
All right. Yeah, you have to go
I'll
too.
start here.
All right.
But
1, 2, 3,
Go.
go! First one to touch the end.
No!
That's a big tag. Now!
This space is designed to work as both an intimate family room and a place to entertain larger gatherings.
I do like the idea of having a room that you can do anything with. So you could clear all this out and you could play tennis.
It's not a classical building with a formal set of rooms and antechambers. This is a big, flexible warehouse.
I like the idea of being able to move where your sitting room is.
Yeah.
Nothing's tethered. It's all absolutely free.
Yeah.
What transforms this contemporary warehouse structure from cavernous to cosy is the subtle colour palette of vintage furniture and the generous use of sensuous textiles.
I'm going to take the weight off my sling bags. Oh. It's very calm in here, Piers. It's church-like. The colour of the leaves outside and the valley with the sun on it sheepskin and maybe quite weary. Oh. I might just have a little relax, sweetie.
Caroline's right, this does have a church-like quality because, of course, this is the main hall, and the back are the vestry spaces, the smaller spaces subservient to the main event, which in this case is a very rudimentary kitchen. It's almost like the scullery that a manor house would have had, but made in a 21st century fashion out of very, very straightforward bits and pieces, lit by a single shaft of light from above, hitting all of this masonry. And then here, I mean, the depth of this wall, it's 4 foot thick, this wall, and it's taking me upstairs through what looks like an ancient stone staircase. Upstairs is very different from a church. This is industrial steel. This is bridge technology, and the whole of the top of this house is really one big truss that lifts up that timber box above the concrete. And what we have up here has a very different character from the room below. The room below is big, grand, and formal. The room up here is much smaller. And then look, there's Caroline Quentin, fast asleep. I mean, this is a really good place where you can bring out your 11-year-old boy and lob things at people below.
Go away.
I'm giving you all my sweets.
Not bad.
The bedroom has a cabin-like quality. I mean, this could be on a boat somewhere. It's lined in timber from top to bottom. Acoustically, it's very different. It's really warm. And these shutters are really rudimentary. They're simple, big pieces of timber. The top is held open just by a timber prop. The bottom one is hung by a chain. Again, this structure here, this is just all the exposed bolt heads, and this is really simple, pretty unrefined steel. There's nothing fancy about it.
But the windows here are sophisticated. Unsurprising, as owner Jose Ferreira has a company that specialises in manufacturing high-tech frames and glass.
Jose, Caroline, lovely to meet you. Thank you so much for inviting us into this absolutely wonderful house. What's it like living in this house with the family?
É fantástico porque a casa é muito flexível, é muito criativa, ela própria pode transformar-se, a configuração da casa pode transformar-se facilmente em vários tipos de ambiente da abertura que ela tem. E quase que se pode dizer que a casa pode viver inclusivamente as estações do ano. Ela pode ser muito aberta, muito fechada, pode receber grandes grupos ou pequenos grupos, e viver com a família nesta casa é muito interessante, muito agradável.
There's something very particular about the way the house is made and the way the elements come together, because the ground is sloping hillside, and on that sits this inverted L, which is made of concrete, and it's the material that grounds the house to this hillside. And it cantilevers over the pool at the end, and then there's that tree with these fantastic autumn leaves. And much like a tree that has a canopy held up on a trunk, the house above that piece of ground is an almost tree-like structure, because these little posts hold up a box truss that sits above this, and the entire first floor then sits within that truss zone. So what you have is a real sense of, landscape that kind of comes through, wraps, right the way around the house, sort of framing the house when you see it in landscape.
And with those windows, what a frame.
Coming out into this courtyard space through this glass partition, is really fabulous because this is what José does for a living. He works with architects using glass, which is his speciality. And not only does that door slide open really elegantly and beautiful, but this one does too. So opening up this whole Riyadh space, a courtyard area that you can use in the summer when it's hot and it keeps you in the shade, or even in the autumn, like now. You can use these spaces which are quite sheltered when the wind is blowing hard up the valley, and it brings you in from the outside into this wonderful master bedroom. And unlike the rooms in the other side of the house, the other guest bedrooms, which are upstairs and small and cosy and wooden, this one has much more elegant proportions.
With a 5-metre ceiling, a giraffe could get a good night's kip in here without getting a crick in its neck.
So you're still connected, so you can still see through the building and all the glass and the wood in there. But if you want to be away from your guests or your children or something, it enables you to get away and have a little bit of privacy in a really beautiful space.
This house is intimate and impressive, stylish and fun, combining stunning architecture and great taste.
Quite nippy now, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm quite glad we can light the fire. I do love the house.
It's a really elemental building in many ways in terms of how it connects us with nature, all the materials and the noise and the textures of everything.
And the house itself, the wood and the concrete, they really complement each other.
Just like us.
Yeah, just like us.
For me, each Portuguese house we've seen has been really ambitious from an architectural perspective, while at the same time being sympathetic to its context.
Portugal has been astonishingly diverse in its culture, in its landscape, in its people, and in its buildings.
It's somehow, though, a nation that sort of keeps itself to itself pretty much. And the houses have been like that too, but once we've scratched around and tried to find out, I've really enjoyed the things that we've discovered.
And inside, there is a treasure trove.
They've been subtle, they've been inscrutable, they've been very beautiful, rather like Portugal itself.
You sound like you've had a good time.
I have, thank you. Obrigada.
Obrigado.
De nada.
Ne bother.
Ne bother. We're sort of Glaswegian Portuguese.
Next time, we're in Switzerland, visiting majestic mountain homes.
I mean, it's like something out of a fairy tale.
Startling lakeside pads.
Look at me.
And luxurious alpine villas. As once again, we go in search of the world's most extraordinary homes.
This is clearly what this entire house is about.